Boom, traders. Yes, yes, yes. We're doing it again. We are doing it again. Yes. Come on in. Welcome. Welcome to, I believe, my first master class of 2026. And boy, do we have a very special one. All right. It's on my favorite topic in the world. So, guys, let's get ready. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being patient. Um, Come on in, make yourselves comfortable, grab the beverage of your choice, even maybe take something like a pen, notebook to take notes with. All right. It is my goal today to blow your mind. All right. We're going to set up an amazing, what I believe will be an amazing 2026 for us. I'm going to go into a variety of things that are macro oriented, that I believe will help position us to really make 2026 maybe one of the best years, especially one of the best positioning years of the decade. So I'm really excited about this, guys. Um, I do want you to let me know something here. Let me know. Do you hear this music in the background? I'm just curious. I know we're on a delay, so I have to wait a minute or so. I'm going to sip some coffee. Let me know if you hear that music. All right. If you hear nothing, that's okay too. I'm just want to make sure. All right. Do you hear that music? Yes or no? Let me know. I'm looking at your comments here. All right. So no music. All right. That's fine. All right. That's fine. It's actually good, actually. All right. So here, before we get started, guys, if you don't mind, let me know where you're piping in from. Let me know where you're coming in from. I know some of you already started doing that, but do it again for me. I'm curious. I always sort of like to put my finger on the pulse of where you guys are in the world here. All right, this is crazy. So I'm going to try to read as fast as I can. I'm looking at your comments here right in front of me. I see Ohio's in the house. All right. I see Miami's in the house. Australia's in the house. Dublin's in the house. India. Okay, it starts to move now. Buffalo, Houston, Texas. Oh my God, I can't read this. Texas, New Jersey, South Dakota, Sheridan, New York, Virginia Beach, Canada, South Africa, Germany. Wow, Philippines, Venezuela, Nepal, Portugal, Spain, Mexico. All right, Venezuela. Woo! This is crazy. Sweden. Wow, Bermuda. International guys, Austria, Indonesia, Spain. Wow, wow. Guys, this is amazing. And I will have to say, but I do want to say before I get started here, guys, if you'll allow me, right? I want to say that every single time I am afforded the opportunity to speak to you in front of a mic, whether that's live or in whether it's live in person or in a live online format like this, I really don't take that for granted. I am highly appreciative of your time. Um, the fact that you'd like to spend your time with me, it is not something I take for granted. And every single time I do this, I make a promise to myself that I will do my very best to share something that I believe has the ability to actually change your life forever. This is my personal promise to myself. Every single time I do this, this event is no exception. So, by the end of our talk over the next couple of hours, I will have hoped to have shared something that will have impacted you in a way that has an influence on the not just the next year, not just the next decade, but the rest of your life. All right? You could maybe tell me at the end of the presentation if I've succeeded or not. All right, guys. So let's get started. All right, let's get started. I'm going to bring us up some slides here. Just a second here. And boom. All right, now, the title of this is The Battle for the Future of Money, which is something that I really think that we are going through in real time right now. And the question is, who will win? Now, traders, listen. I believe that we are living in one of the most important, one of the most fascinating times in history, in global history, in human history, in financial history. Why? Because I believe that we are undergoing in real time a total global reset. The things are changing. You can see it in the political sphere with so many things changing. The United States pulling out of who? All right, the different dialogues we see going on in Davos today, all right, the major shuffling around, the countries being taken over, being bought, being taken over, um, riots in the streets um, throughout Europe and other parts of the world, global unrest. We are going through a very big and very important transitional period. This happens about every 50 to 80 years. And those who sort of can put their finger on the pulse of those changes and those who can get ahead of those resets do tend to be the new elite, the new wealthy, the new very well positioned for the next 50 to 80 years. And that is what I would that is based on my thesis what I'd like to help you do. Get ahead of this global reset because there is a battle for the future of money, which is the future of the world, um, going on in real time right now. And I believe, guys, Bitcoin is one of the centerpieces of this new global reset. This is why the United States has suddenly made a 180-degree turn and all of a sudden is a pro Bitcoin country. This is why the United States has formed a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is why the United States has suddenly become the number one world power in the Bitcoin mining industry. This is why the United States, as far as location, is the largest controller of the Bitcoin hash rate. This is why, of all countries throughout the world, the US has the clearest and the most advanced regulatory clarity. This is why the US has suddenly allowed its banks to custody Bitcoin. This is why the largest money managers on earth, which are US based, are all now pro Bitcoin. There is a massive shift to a new oil, a new gold, a new money. The battle for the newest form of money is going on right now, and it's as clear as day. And I hope by what I'm covering today, you can see all the pawns being put in place for what I believe will be a massive reset. Now, a lot of people don't understand what I mean by reset. A reset in that assets get totally repriced. That's right, totally repriced overnight, not over many years, not over decades, but I'm talking about freaking overnight. And if I have enough time, I want to go into how assets have historically, at certain periods, just been repriced overnight. I'm hoping I have time enough to go into that aspect. That's on the tail end. I may not have time enough, but that's a very, very, very fascinating part of history. And I believe that we're about to repeat that right now. All right, let's get back. Okay. Now, I am going to skip the introductory stuff about me, guys. You can, if you're new here, you can find out about me later. All right. I do want to mention that I am the author of 5 international best-selling books on the topic of trading markets for a living. I continue to be one of the most sought-after speakers on the topic of trading markets for a living throughout the world. But what a lot of people don't realize is that I've also started venturing into writing Bitcoin books. And my first Bitcoin book was an Amazon bestseller in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, Portuguese. Wow, I'm very honored. My second Bitcoin book is almost near complete and will be published very soon. All right, guys, if you want to follow me, of course, I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell in the upper right-hand corner. All right, I don't want you to miss any pieces of content I produce for you every single day, which I believe are building blocks to a better future as far as financial markets are concerned, as far as trading is concerned, as far as wealth accumulation is concerned. I have YouTube channels in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Make sure you comment. I read all the comments. I want to know what you're feeling about the content. I want to know what questions you have. This helps me build new content for you on a day-to-day basis. And also, your liking each and every video does help the algorithm, help my message spread through the algorithm to those who have similar interest. Okay, guys. Let's get started. The first thing I want you to know, the first thing I want you to realize is that Wall Street has suddenly made a turn. It has made a 180-degree turn and has developed one of the most insatiable appetites that I've seen in a very long time. Wall Street can't get enough of Bitcoin right now, and it's only growing. Now listen, some of you may know a little bit of my history. I have been trading financial markets for over 40 years. I started my career on Wall Street in 1986. After a very successful period on Wall Street, I decided to start my own firm. My success on Wall Street led me to start my own Wall Street firm, which became one of the largest, the second largest direct access brokerage trading organizations in the United States, which I eventually sold for a lot of money. I have been training institutional traders for decades, and I continue to be a guest speaker for some of the biggest trading and Wall Street oriented firms on earth every single year. What is my point in telling you all of this? I have been in the game almost all of my adult life, if not all of my adult life. I have seen Wall Street go through so many different phases, but what I've never seen is an appetite that is this satiable. Wall Street has turned a positive ear and direction and force to Bitcoin like I've never seen before. The only thing that I can say that I've seen as feverish of a pitch is a period for the internet period, which obviously led to the internet bubble, all right, the dot-com bubble. But that bubble also was necessary to separate the wheat from the tares. And that period, that internet craze, that dot-com craze did produce the world's first trillion-dollar assets. We never had trillion-dollar assets before that internet craze. We had billion-dollar assets. We even had a few $100 billion assets, but never before the internet craze did we have trillion-dollar assets. Well, now I am seeing not only a feverish pitch from Wall Street, my playing ground. Not only am I seeing the same type of feverish interest sprout up again in Bitcoin, it's actually more intense than I remember. Now remember, guys, the internet democratized information. It was the internet of information, the internet of knowledge. And that movement of democratizing information and knowledge created the world's first trillion-dollar assets. Well, we are now in phase 2 of that. Bitcoin is the internet of money. It is here to democratize money. And how much bigger and how much more important is the democratization of money than is the democratization of information, the digitization of your photos, the digitization of your books, the digitization of your movies, the digitization of your music. That's all well and good, but the digitization of your dollar and the democratization of your money, your value, what you change your time for is far grander and far bigger. And I've never seen Wall Street in my entire life get this feverish in such a short period of time, and rightfully so. So if we can look back to see when Wall Street did this last time, it was the internet, and what happened? First $1 trillion assets. Now it's the next phase, not the internet of information, but the internet of money, and they're just as feverish, if not more. And what is that going to lead to? The next $10 trillion assets. So it's important to understand, people, that this turn by Wall Street is extraordinarily important. TradFi can't get enough of Bitcoin today. Now, a lot of people used to say, well, Gulliver, but Bitcoin's not used for anything. No, no one uses Bitcoin. Well, look at 2025 statistics here. MasterCard, all right, had $9.7 trillion in use. Visa, right, which is considerably larger than MasterCard, had $16 trillion of value transferred. Well, Bitcoin surpassed them both. In 2025, total transaction volume was over $25 trillion. There is no other network on planet Earth at this size now. And Bitcoin's just getting started, people. It is about to go berserk. And this is what Wall Street is starting to see. This is what TradFi can't ignore anymore. Bitcoin is infiltrating the system, and it is becoming the new base layer of money. Now, listen to me carefully. Bitcoin has become one of the largest transaction networks on Earth. It's a baby. And Wall Street wants in. They see the writing on the wall. Now, let's get back. NASDAQ is now, the NASDAQ headquarters in Times Square is now frequently posting Bitcoin quotes. Here's one, all right, sponsored by Bitwise. There is no second best by Michael Saylor. Now, I'm from New York, and I have friends and family reporting to me how frequently they see this in Times Square, the promotion of Bitcoin. It's powerful. The New York Stock Exchange just displayed the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto. The venerable New York Stock Exchange. This is absolutely incredible. On the New York Stock Exchange, they're telling you in plain sight, the cuffs have come off. NASDAQ just announced that they removed all limits on Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin ETFs have been in existence since 2024, and Bitcoin ETFs have become the most successful financial product in the history of the world. Did you hear me? Bitcoin ETFs have become the most successful financial product in the history of the world. The IBIT Spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock is the second most profitable product they have ever produced, and it's only several months old. These ETFs had limits placed on them that other ETFs did not have. Well, no longer. NASDAQ has just announced they removed all limits on Bitcoin ETFs. Wall Street can't get enough of BTC. Buckle up. The Wall Street takeover. Just in, Hardware wallet, hardware wallet Ledger. Ledger is the producer, the manufacturer of a cold storage hardware wallet for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies called Ledger. All right. Um, Ledger is going public on the New York Stock Exchange, a wallet producer going public on the New York Stock Exchange with a $4 billion valuation. Now, let me tell you why this is important, guys. I want to tell you why this is important. When Wall Street starts to be able to take Bitcoin related companies and take them public, they make hundreds of millions of dollars on just that process. But you've got to be an industry, or you've got to reach a place where it's worthy enough to go public at billions of dollars in valuation. And when you cross that, when an industry crosses that threshold, it reaches escape velocity. Everyone on Wall Street starts scrambling. Well, let's look for the next company to go public. Let's find the next BTC related item, whether it's a lender, whether it's a Bitcoin mortgage lender, whether it's a Bitcoin bank, or whether it's a Bitcoin treasury company, or whether it's a Bitcoin wallet company, whether it's a Bitcoin infrastructure. They start scrambling, and they also start creating aspects of the industry by advising Bitcoin-oriented companies to go into this area, to go into that area. This we can take public, and so forth and so on. This is huge, guys, huge, all right? Global accounting firms, which are the bedrock of financial regulation for publicly traded companies, the global accounting firms have come on board. $55 billion PwC just said Bitcoin and crypto adoption has passed the point of no return. These are firms that handle the world's top organizations on planet Earth. This is one of the largest accounting firms on Earth. They handle the finances, the financial reporting of the biggest organizations on Earth, and they're telling us Bitcoin adoption. When you say crypto, just replace that with Bitcoin, because it's like 90% of everything. All right, Bitcoin adoption has passed the point of no return. They're telling you this because they see it with their clients, and their clients are the biggest in the world. Right? This is where that quote has come from. I don't want anyone thinking like I'm just creating these quotes. This is the PwC report, and on page 5 up here, let me see if I can get my Epic pen. Sorry, guys. Epic pen up here so I can point to some things. But on page 5 of that report, you don't have to read these reports. I read them for you, and report back to you for you. But on page 5 of that report, you have institutional involvement has crossed the point of reversibility. It can't be reversed anymore. It's reached escape velocity. It's here to stay. Powerful. All right. The second largest money manager on planet Earth is Fidelity. $5 trillion under management. Fidelity says Bitcoin could be entering a decade-long super cycle. They're telling you in plain sight, people, what is coming next. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this decade-long cycle, because I want you to understand what decade I believe that we're repeating. You see, almost every decade has a mirror decade from the past. Sometimes they have 2 mirrors. So the decade that you're in could be repeating 2 other decades from the past, almost tit for tat. And we're in the decade of the 2020s. And I'm going to show you today how the 2020s are actually are actually following two prior decades, tit for tat. And you're going to be like, wow. And we're in the middle of the decade. And the second part of the decade is the most explosive, which we've just crossed into 2026. So this ties in with Fidelity's quote here: Bitcoin could be entering a decade-long super cycle. And I believe they're correct. Let's get back, all right? I have been saying for years, people, that Bitcoin will be a tax-free asset. In fact, it's probably going to be one of, if not the only tax-free assets in the world. Now think about this. Why would I say this? Oliver, why would governments all around the world stop taxing Bitcoin and the wealth that Bitcoiners accumulate? Why would they're tax hungry. Why wouldn't they tax it? Very simple. The most important competition amongst countries going forward will be competition for wealth. The attraction of bring your wealth to our country. And what's being set up is that Bitcoin is being set up to be the largest wealth producer on earth. Governments are starting to realize it. The US has realized it. It wants to be the largest owner of Bitcoin as far as countries, and it is by far, with 325,000 plus Bitcoin. No other country is close. It wants to add to its Bitcoin holdings. It wants to buy up to 1 million more Bitcoin. This is all in talks right now. And the world is starting to understand that where this is going, it's going to produce some of the wealthiest organizations and some of the wealthiest people on planet Earth. And there will be a competition for that wealth because wealth goes where it's treated the best. And what's one of the best ways to attract wealth to your country? Drop taxes. If a country wants the wealth to come to their country, they're going to drop taxes. I believe that in short order, there will be zero taxes from any country on your Bitcoin holdings forever. That's right. Now, this doesn't, you might think, well, what does this do for a country? Well, if the wealth comes to their country and to use the Bitcoin, to exchange it for other value, to sell the Bitcoin does not have a tax consequence to it, then this will promote using Bitcoin more for things that do have a tax on it. So if there's a clothing tax and you use Bitcoin to buy clothing, you're still paying taxes. If there's an oil tax and you use some Satoshis to fill up your tank with oil, yes, they'll get the taxes that way. Or if you're at a restaurant and there's a tax on the bill, you're paying with some Satoshis and you're paying it that way. But you're not going to be double taxed in that world. So that wealth being attracted to the country that has no taxes on their Bitcoin will benefit hugely. And there is going to be a massive global race amongst countries to drop taxes. And you don't believe me? Well, it's already happening. Let me show you. All right? Let me show you. The Czech Republic president, Czechoslovakia's president just signed a law removing the capital gains tax on Bitcoin for all Bitcoin that you hold 3+ years or more. Now, I love this policy I love the fact that it is encouraging that you hold Bitcoin for a period that statistically is almost guaranteed that it's going to be worth more. This policy enforces that you don't look at Bitcoin as a trade, that you look at it as a store of value in a sense, that you look at it as a wealth building asset and not an income producing asset. And it will encourage people to become wealthier and wealthier. I love this 3+ year policy. Now, you say, but Oliver, that's the Czech Republic. I mean, come on, bro. Let's talk about like the G10 or whatever. Well, the United States will lead this charge of no taxes, and it's already begun. Breaking news: Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill that will go to the floor on January 27th, just introduced in Congress. What did they introduce? Taxes can be paid in Bitcoin and no capital gains tax on that Bitcoin. So they already started to put their foot in the water of no taxes on Bitcoin. And this will only grow to every corner of Bitcoin's use. This is potentially one of the most bullish legislations ever. We'll see if it passes, and I believe it does. The momentum is too strong. All right, sometime in March. All right. Let's look at some Bitcoin technicals here, because most of you know, guys, that I have largely been a chartist most of my trading career. Why do I love charts? Because charts don't lie. And what actually are charts in essence? They are the footprints of money. And so while a person can tell you with their mouth any lie or any misconception they want to, blah, 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 blah. But if you watch what they do with their money, that usually reveals the truth, does it not? So we follow the money, and charts are the footprints of money. Charts are not the footprints of your mouth. Charts are not the footprints of your promises. Charts are not the footprints of your intentions. Charts are the footprints of your real beliefs, which you communicate through how you spend your money. That is why I love charts. Don't show me your words, show me your chart. Don't tell me your promises, show me your chart, bro. Because I know that's the truth, right? So let's look at some of the technicals, because charts don't lie, right? I believe that these are some of the leading indicators that are telling us what Bitcoin is about to do in the latter part of this decade. It is about to freaking explode. It's already exploded. Guys, listen, Bitcoin has already become the fastest, the best performing asset in the history of the world. It's already become the fastest adopted technology in all of the human experience. It's already outperformed everything human beings have ever held dear in the entire history of the human race. Not in small slivers of time, but over time, it is number one by far. But I think we haven't seen anything yet. Anything yet. I think the best is about to come, and I think that best is going to reveal itself inside of the next 4 years, which means you've got 4 years for generational wealth in front of you, 4 years to change your life forever, 4 years to never have to work for another man again, 4 years to be set for life. I believe that opportunity is upon us right now. Now, these indicators, right? These leading indicators are telling us something. Let's look at the one on the left, the stablecoin market cap indicator. Now, I want you to look at what every time there is a breakout in the stablecoin market cap, meaning every time this starts moving up, you get a Bitcoin explosion. Why? Because a lot of people convert their analog value to digital value first in the form of stablecoins now. So they'll take USD, convert it to stablecoin, and from stablecoin convert it to BTC. Right? So they go native to native. Dollars to BTC is not native to native, but if you go USDC to BTC, you're now native to native. And so as dollars go more and more, and the Stablecoin Act, guys, that I just spoke about, it's called the Stablecoin Act that goes to the floor for review on the 27th of January, is largely focused on creating a bill that makes it easier for US dollars to go into stablecoins. It's called the freaking Stablecoin Act, for Christ's sakes. Right? It's favoring stablecoins. It's telling you the bill is basically saying convert to stablecoins. Convert your value to stablecoins. And we're going to make it easy for you to do that. Now, why is that huge? Because every time money flows to stablecoins, Bitcoin's value skyrockets. You see this period right here? This was in, let's say, it looks like May, June of last year. 2025. Look at the move. We moved from 74,000 to 126,000. It looks to me, especially with the Stablecoin Act coming through, in March, likely it'll get approved. Boom! This is going to frickin' explode. Especially when that Stablecoin Act gets approved. And that's going to feed into Bitcoin's meteoric rise. But this was the type of stablecoin inflow you got before the US had regulatory clarity on stablecoins. So imagine once the regulatory clarity is in place, everyone's going to be converting dollars to stablecoins, and that eventually feeds into Bitcoin. So we're going to see rises exponentially larger than the rises before, because the inflow into stablecoins will be massively more. We can get ahead of this. You understand? We can get ahead of this. All right. I believe that stablecoin bill probably gets approved around March or so. All right, so right in that apex, guys. See March here? Right in that. Boom! All right. The second indicator here, central bank balance sheets. Guys, we have been in a tightening period for several years. Most of you know that. And most of you know that we've only just started to come out of that tightening, that Federal Reserve central bank tightening, right? Now, a lot of people don't understand what that means. It means pulling liquidity, tightening the screws on the money supply and pulling liquidity out of the market. Now, how does the central bank pull money out, right? Tighten. How does it reduce it? What it does is it has several levers to use to do this. Okay? But here's the thing. There is a cycle when it comes, there's a very predictable cycle when it comes to watching the six central banks balance sheets. And when the balance sheets, all right, start to rise, it means that they're putting liquidity back in the market. So I want you to try to understand this relationship. It's important. So when the Federal Reserve sells things on its balance sheet, it receives the money for it. That's pulling money out of the system. So when the balance sheet, when it has an item on the balance sheet and it sells it, it's really saying we want to draw money out of the of the of the economy and keep it ourselves. We want to lock it up. We're going to tighten things. So their balance sheet starts declining. When a Fed's balance sheet is declining, that's tightening. They're pulling money in from out of the economy to make it less money available. But I want you to look at this. So all throughout these last few years, look at the balance sheet declining. That's pulling money out of the system. They're selling balance sheet items to get the money locked in. Now look at what has happened. The trend has changed. This is about to explode, which means that they're going to start selling items they're going to start buying back items to put on the balance sheet, which is the form of putting money back into the system, increasing liquidity in the system. Guys, so stable coins rocking is a form of increased liquidity. Central bank balance sheet is another form of increased liquidity. Increased liquidity means higher prices. Now, one of the reasons I believe that there's been somewhat of a struggle with higher prices recently is because we have not broken out yet here, and we've not broken out yet here, but it's coming. Liquidity is coming. Money supply increases are coming more and more. The third indicator, these are all leading indicators, guys. These lead price. They lead the Bitcoin price. Gold is another leading indicator. A lot of people don't realize that. Gold leads Bitcoin's price. It is the first runner. It runs before Bitcoin every goddamn time. Do you understand this? You can go back through history of every major Bitcoin supercycle. Gold ran first. It's always the first out of the blocks. And when gold gets tired, it passes the baton to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin takes it and triples what gold did or more. It's the faster runner. Gold is 5,000 years old. Bitcoin's 17 years old. Who's going to run faster? So a lot of Bitcoiners be like, a lot of Bitcoiners have been sort of kind of bummed out that gold has been performing so well and Bitcoin's kind of been stagnant. And I tell them, what are you talking about? Root your brother on. Root that senior citizen on. Because if you're impressed with the 90-year-old dude racing, he's about to pass the baton to a 17-year-old. And that 17-year-old and you thought you were impressed with the 90-year-old running the first leg? Wait till the 17-year-old gets the baton. It is going to put the 90-year-old that you were impressed with to shame. It does it every single cycle, every single time. And the bigger the gold run first, the bigger the Bitcoin run to follow. You have to know financial history to understand these things. And I've done that work for you. Be glad gold is front running, and be glad it's front running by a nice margin, because that only tells you what the next super run in Bitcoin is going to be. It always triples or more what the gold run was. Now, if you don't believe me, you go back in history. Every time, well, I'll do it for you. I think I did it for you here in one of the upcoming slides. All right. This is very powerful. I'm trying to get you ahead of what's about to happen, guys. I know we're a little off for 2025, but it's just delayed, not off entirely, just delayed. All right. I know I was calling for higher prices by 2025, but it's just delayed. That beach ball under the water was just held a little bit longer. It's still going to happen. And everything happening under the hood is indicating that very powerfully. Delays are not failures. In fact, delays add power. You know how a bull fight happens? They agitate the bull in the cage before they release him. Agitate him, make him angry, so that when that bull comes out into the ring with force, power, and violence, it's driven by anger. Right? Now, you might think this is cruel, but that's besides the point. I'm just using an example here, right? So they agitate, agitate, and they agitate. Now, when they really want the bull to be faster, to be more powerful, to be more violent, to be more explosive, they delay the release of the bull and agitate him longer. Think about this concept. We did not get the bull run that we expected in 2025, but it's just held back. It's just agitated longer. It's just freaking delayed. It's not failed, it's delayed. And I believe that delay is close to being over. And if what we thought was going to happen in 2025 was impressive, I think it's bigger. I think it's better going forward, just because delays produce more. Okay. Here's another indicator that I watch, guys. The Bitcoin fair value model. Okay. I'm not going to go into the specifics of how this is calculated. You can do that yourself. You can do that with ChatGPT or whatever. All right. Bitcoin fair value model. It's a metric that comes up with where Bitcoin's fair value is, all right, based on a variety of different metrics. And the fair value is the green line here. Now, a lot of times Bitcoin is trading around its fair value when it's going sideways, oftentimes. But when it is rising or declining, I mean, when it starts a period of momentum, it often vacillates between getting ahead of fair value and getting below fair value, getting ahead of fair value, getting below fair value. So here's us below fair value, getting ahead of fair value, going back to below fair value, getting ahead of fair value, then going below fair value and getting ahead of fair value. Now we are below fair value. What's the next move? Ahead of fair value. Now, fair value continues to rise for the most part over time. So one of the best times to get interested in Bitcoin, especially from an accumulation point of view, is when you are under fair value. Do you pull you up? I haven't seen you in a while. All right. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Just a little bit. Little bit? Maybe? Teeny bit? Let me know. Does it make sense so far? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Does it make sense? All right. Someone says almost like the 20 MA. That's correct. All right. Make sense? All right. Now, some of you do have some questions. I see some of your questions. I'm going to try to take some of your questions like quantum computing, FUD, and stuff like that. But I do want to get through this. I don't want to sacrifice the meat of the material by getting too distracted. But don't get worried about quantum computing, guys. It's just a way to try to keep you away from the next monetary reset. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. A lot of people don't want you in, but you can see the signs that they're getting in. They're changing things. They're changing the laws. They're changing the rules. They're getting in. They're allowing the banks. They're starting strategic reserves. They're starting Bitcoin mining operations. But then they tell you, but watch out for the computer. Watch out for the quantum FUD. You watch out for while they gobble up. No, don't fall for this. All right, don't do it. All right, let me get back here. Good, I'm glad you guys. Now, somebody was just saying, what about other cryptos? The monetary reset's not going to be made on anything else except Bitcoin. And you see it in all the moves. You see it in all the moves. So it is not time to get distracted, people, by anything else. I'm trying to save you from this. I am trying to, don't get distracted by quantum computing, but don't get distracted by other shiny objects. We'll have time for that bullshit in the future. You'll have time to gamble. You'll have time to go to the casino. You'll have time for other cryptocurrencies if you like them. No, the time is to focus 1,000% on what the system is resetting itself on. You can't waste it by having your attention diverted over there. Everything is going to be pulled out to make you distracted, to pull you away from this. They don't want you to have the new monetary reset. Do you understand? You don't get initial IPOs before the power structure does. When the companies go public, they've already made their fortune by getting in before the company goes public. For the first time, we're at the IPO level. For the first time, we're front-running these bozos. Do you understand? We're front-running the countries. We're front-running the major institutions. We're front-running the global banking system. We're front-running the central banks. And you want to get distracted with other bullshit right now? No. We'll have time for BS in the future. Don't get distracted, people. This is it. You got 4 years. I'm going to prove this to you. You have 4 years, and you better get started right now. All right, let's go back. So, yes, we are under fair value. This does, one of my guys just said, it's just like the 20-period moving average. That's right. Your best opportunity is now. But most people lighten up when you're down here because they get scared. I don't want you to be that kind of novice market player. Don't get scared down here. Get aggressive down there. You should never be scared with Bitcoin, but if there's a point to be scared, get scared up here. Don't get scared down here. That's novice. Don't be a novice. All right. This signal, guys, it's a proprietary signal based on some mining network metrics, and I'm not going to go into the great detail. All right. But I will say this, it has been deadly accurate. In fact, it's never freaking missed in history, never. Now, there's always maybe a first time to things, some things anyway. But all we have is history to go by. And history says when this line, when this metric reaches that level, all right, which is above 90, right? We're off to the races. We're close to being off to the races. We're close to being off to the races. This was last cycle. Close to being off to the races. Now, this is a log chart, so it looks like those price movements are flat, but they are not, guys. All right? This is this green dot here, just so you know, this looks flat on the chart, right? This part looks flat on the chart. Let me show you how not flat that is. This is 15,000 at the green circle. All right? And this is 126,000. So think about this. I'm gonna write this clearer. From the last time this was green above 90, Bitcoin was at 15,000 and change. 15,000 and change. That's the bottom of the market in November of 2022. Go check it yourself. Now, since then, we have run to 126, 15,000 to 126. We're back above 90. This tells you right here, we are not in a bear market. We just got paused a little bit. And this is back above 90. Where are we? Around 90,000, and this is around 90,000. So this indicator, if we go by history, we're about to rock it, bro. It's never missed. All right? Powerful. This is a chart of the Bitcoin. I mean, this is the chart of the US business cycle, which is largely the global business cycle, right? And what you see at the bottom is the business cycle. Let me just highlight that for you so that you don't have to go searching for it. This is the Bitcoin cycle, and this at the top is Bitcoin. All right? Now, when the business cycle starts to cool off, Bitcoin has historically cooled off, right? Every time the business cycle cools off, here are the cooling off periods. Bitcoin's price cools off. Every time the business cycle cools off, Bitcoin's price cools off, right? Now, a lot of people might say, well, Oliver, you know, the business cycle has been kind of hot, hasn't it? Hasn't it been? Well, not if you look at U.S. manufacturing. U.S. manufacturing has been close to a depression. By the U.S. manufacturing metric, which in my opinion is the most important metric, one of the most important metrics for monitoring the U.S. business cycle, it has been in a bear market. It's just starting to bottom. So when you look at the US business cycle from that perspective, we're down here. Let me show you. From the business cycle's perspective, we're down here. Based on US manufacturing metrics. Look at where we are right now. Uh-oh. Every time, green to red. Every time, green to red. You see that? See that green to red? So wait, let me show you. We're green and green. Green to red. We're green and green. Green to red. These are huge moves, guys. Green, green, green to red. They may not look like it, but they're huge. Just to show you, this move was from 3,000 to 69,000. This move, I told you. Oh, wait. It's not the move we're talking. This move was from $600 to 20,000. Crazy, right? And this move was from 15,000 to 126. We're back at frickin' green again. Crazy. Now, I want to show you something really interesting. I want to show you something really interesting on this chart, guys. Look at me carefully. Look at me carefully. Look at this carefully. Sometimes between red and green, you get a yellow. See? Sometimes between red and green, you get a yellow, which also produces a rise. The biggest moves the most accelerated moves come from green most of the time. But sometimes you get a yellow in between. You see? So this time we got a yellow from red to yellow. Now it's green. You see, at 15,000, it didn't go green, it went yellow. And every time green follows yellow, look at what happens in the past. Green follows yellow. Look at the acceleration. Green follows yellow. Look at the acceleration. Green follows yellow. Look at the acceleration. Green follows yellow. We're in store for the acceleration. Picking up what I'm laying down here, people? It's freaking powerful. We can get ahead of this. All right? I'm not coming to you after the fact. I'm coming to you before the fact, like I usually do. All right. So let's keep going here. I'm not done with you yet. Bitcoin has historically lags global M2 money supply. So I want you to see how the money supply all over the world has been exploding. Exploding US, exploding Japan, exploding China. China's the worst. Exploding Euro. Money supply is starting to accelerate again. Now, China has never paused, right? Which is, I don't want to go there right now, which tells you their economy is just a paper tiger. They're a paper tiger. It's all smoke and mirrors based on paper money, right? But if you look at, in Japan as well, paper tiger. But if you look at the US and the euro, I want you to see how the money supply dipped in 2021 into 2023 or so. Dipped. We've started to rise again after the dip. This is a new era. This is a new era. Now, I want to show you why that's important. So I'm gonna do the dips in red for you. Dip in red, dip in red. We're gonna forget these. They're paper tigers, all right? So dip and dip. And we have started to rise again, right? After the dip. Started to rise after the dip. But look at before the dip. Look at this whole freaking rise. Look at this whole rise before the dip. Relentless, relentless, relentless. We're just starting a new one. So duplicate that on the other side. Do you understand? Duplicate that on the other side. We're going parabolic with liquidity, parabolic with M2 money supply, which raises all assets, but raises Bitcoin the most. But Bitcoin always lags. It's the fastest horse in the race, but the last one out of the blocks. This has happened every time. And with the new rising, it's only a matter of time. So it's pulling gold, it's pulling, silver, it's pulling platinum, it's pulling copper, it's pulling other things as well. Bitcoin comes out of the blocks last always. But it then passes everyone by orders of magnitude because it is always the fastest horse in the race. There's another indicator of what's to come. M2 pulls Bitcoin meteorically after it has risen for a while. Okay. Here's another really interesting indicator. It's the number of days spent at a loss. Okay. So when this metric peaks, you are at a top. When this, so this is no one's at a loss. Loss is down. See, these are gains, right? But loss is down here. Loss is at the bottom. Basically, so loss is down. So less loss is up. Okay? So as Bitcoin's price goes up, there are more and more coins not in a loss. Okay? As Bitcoin price drops, this is indicator of Bitcoin days at a loss drops. Now, when you get down here, you are ready for a bottom and a sharp move up. Every time you get down here, see? Down here, do this a different color so you can see it. You get down here, here, you are ready. You get down here, you are ready. You get down here and down here, you are ready. You get down here, you are ready. Look at where we are. You freaking kidding me? Freaking kidding me? Kidding me? I mean, it's all over the place. What is about to happen? Every which way I look, I just see the same freaking thing. I'm like, how can I not share this? How can I not share this with my bros and my sisters? How can I not share this with you? It's crazy, right? What kind of person would I be? I didn't share this. We need to get ready for this. There's something else that this is a very basic indicator that I always want you to keep in mind, and I never want you to forget this, guys. I used to say it's the lows, stupid, but I'll be a little nicer. It's the lows that count, guys. Stop focusing on Bitcoin's highs. That's what novices do, and that's what the legacy media does. Stop getting sucked in with the highs. It'll always keep you fearful. So, why do I mean the highs will keep you fearful? Because when Bitcoin starts dropping from 69 and now you're at 40 and now you're at 30 and now you're at 20 and now you're at 15, like this makes you scared because you are focused on 69 and it's going down. That makes you scared. When we peaked out at 126, people are scared now because we've dropped to 90, 80, 90. They're scared because they're focused on the highs. When you peak at 20K and you drop to 3K, you get scared because you are focused on the highs. You got it backwards. You focus on the lows. $160. Where's the next one? 3,000. Are you kidding me? Do you see this? Wait a minute. $160, 3,000? Does that make you scared? Look at the difference in the lows. Does that make you scared? No, that should make you encouraged. That we went from low to low, 160 to 3,000. That's at the worst point of Bitcoin, and that's impressive. This is the proper way, all right? So 160 to 3,000. And what's the next low? 3,000 to 15K. That's not scary. That's a 5X. Now, let's call this 80K. I mean, where are we now? We're around 90K, maybe a little bit less right now. Right, let me just quickly check here. Yeah, we're 89. So let's call this 80K. 15,000 to 80K and you're freaking scared? Where's the next one? 300? Where's the next low? Focus on the lows. Get the highs. The highs are where novices focus. The lows are where pros focus. Be a pro, bro. All right. This is the greatest indicator of all that I want you to keep in mind. If you did the opposite of what this dude has done for the last 30 years, you'd already will have won life's game. All you got to do is go the other way. This guy breaks the laws of mathematics for being wrong. You know how they say you can flip a coin? If you flip a coin long enough, you know, they say if you flip a coin long enough, you're eventually going to get 50% tails and 50% heads and 50% tails. Now, in the short term, you might get more heads than tails and more tails than heads. But if you flip it long enough, it evens out, right? That's mathematical law, right? Probability. Well, not if you're Jim Cramer. You see, he doesn't have 50% wins and 50%, despite 30 years. It's almost always wrong. So this is one of our greatest indicators. All right, don't forget that. Jim Cramer says, I don't believe Bitcoin can reach 500,000, let alone 1 million. That's improbable. Looks like we're hitting 1 million soon, guys. Buckle up. We got one of the greatest indicators on our side here. Remember I told you It's funny, right? Let me just see if I can check your comments here before I go into the next phase of this. The Kramer effect. That's right. The Kramer effect. Yes. Oh, shoot. What did I do here? Kramer effect. What else you got? Can I see you? Someone says, I can't believe he still has a show. I just think it's on purpose, guys. Remember, guys, you are going to be consistently led astray. I need you to understand this. You're going to consistently be led astray. There's going to be news articles that keep you away. FUD like quantum computing risk. Ridiculous. You know, a bear market top, this and that, that. You know, no one wants you to have freedom. All right? No one wants you escaping. No one wants you to be financially free. You need to be a pawn. You need to be running on that hamster wheel. Keep shit moving on the hamster wheel. We can't lose hamsters. We need them running on the wheels, man. We can't lose a lot of them. Who's going to run the wheels? Right? So, you know, the Jim Cramers of the world are positioned to do that. I'm telling you. I've always used this analogy. In real estate, if you want to keep an area very exclusive, wealthy, do you bring the price down, Holmes? Hell no. You want to keep the riffraff out. You want to keep the regular people from coming in. You want to keep it posh. You jack the prices up, right? That's what they're going to do to Bitcoin. They want to take it away from you. Crashing it will not take it away from you. That'll bring it to you. Bitcoin is going to crash, people. You know, Bitcoin is going to crash. It is just going to crash upward. You understand this? Tell me you understand this. They don't want to bring it to you. They want the Jim Cramers to scare you away. They want the quantum FUD risk to scare you away. They want to take it from you. Tell me you understand this before I move on. I'm not even going to move until I see it. Tell me you understand this. They want to take it away from you. Tell me you understand this. They don't want to bring it to you. They want to take it away from you. The only way to do that is to crash the price upward. They're going to want to outprice you. That's why your time is limited. All right. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to this, guys. It's very important. All right. Gold always leads first. We talked about that. Gold is Bitcoin's leading indicator, or one of Bitcoin's leading indicator. Remember, global M2 money supply and US M2 money supply is a leading indicator. The central bank balance sheet is a leading indicator, right? The stable coin inflows, leading indicator. And gold is a leading indicator. Gold is the slower horse, but it leads first, and then Bitcoin takes it to the finish line with an exponential increase based on what gold did. Now, this, guys, this is very important. This section is probably the most important that I'm going to cover today. So you got to get this down, right? Gold doesn't just lead first every cycle. Gold has led first in the macro cycle. You see, when prior to 1971, gold was not really part of the ongoing investor cycle because it was illegal in the US to own it until the 1970s. It had a set price of $35. And when President Nixon took the world off the gold standard and created the world's first fiat standard, all right? The cap at 35 was removed and gold became free trading investable item again. Gold, once it was released and infiltrated back into the investor world, back into the accumulation world, it went from $35 to almost $900 in a few short years. But check this out. Bitcoin has just been added to the investor community. Bitcoin has just got its spot Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin is just being okay from a regulatory standpoint. Institutions are just starting to get in. So Bitcoin, gold led that cycle first. Oh, once we let the investors come in, gold goes from $35 to $900. Now we're doing the same thing, and the next run as a result of that is in front of us. Gold gave us the map. Gold gave us the roadmap in the 1970s for the 2020s, 50 years later. I told you every 50 years something like this happens. Gold did it first. 50 years later, Bitcoin's going to do it second. Now, let me show you this. I told you this is the most important part. I need you to get this down. Check this out. All right? Here's gold's run in the 1970s. Now, prior to this period from the mid-1930s all the way through 1971, gold just vacillated at $35 an ounce because it was capped there. When there was talk of rumors, gold started to rally a little bit. In 1971, Nixon takes the world off the gold standard. All right? A few years later, allowing anyone to buy it and invest in it now, it goes from 1970, let's call it 1971. Yeah, 1971. It has its first boom. Well, actually, its second run, because it had a little run here. It pulls back mid-decade. So think of the 70s as the decade we're talking about. It pulls back mid-decade, 75 into 76. And from 76, we go right into the end of the decade, 1980, top almost $900. Understand? So this whole decade was the world coming into gold. Follow me carefully with this. The world could not come into gold before the 1970s. It was only for countries. It wasn't for investors. It wasn't for institutions. It wasn't for mutual funds. It wasn't for the Warren Buffetts of the world. It wasn't for money managers of the world. It wasn't for mutual funds of the world. It wasn't for hedge funds of the world. It wasn't for the investor class. It wasn't for individuals. No one could do it, only governments. 1970s opened goals up for institutions, funds, hedge funds, mutual funds, money managers, individuals. And look what happened when it got opened up. It went from freaking 1971, when it got opened up, from 35 to, let's call it 900, just a little shy of 900. And it did this over 1 decade. I believe Bitcoin is repeating the decade of the 70s. Gold did it first, like it always does. Bitcoin is now doing it. And we started in 2020. All right, let me go back to this. I want to show you something here. So in reality, the low was 1970. Bitcoin's low was 2020. 50 years later, Bitcoin's low was 2020. Okay? From 1770, gold runs just like Bitcoin does. Then it pulls back into the middle of the decade, 76. That would be 2026. Remember all those indicators I said that we're at a bottom? Remember all the indicators that are at the bottom? This is the bottom. It's just that Bitcoin's pullback is like that. Understand? So gold's pullback was deeper. Bitcoin's pullback is more shallow. You understand? So here's my point. We run from 1770 into 1975. Look at it. That equates from Bitcoin running from 2020 into 2025. Where did it go to? 126,000. Then we pull back into, gold pulls back into 1976. Bitcoin pulls back into 2026, creating a bottom. Remember all the indicators that say we're at a bottom. And from 2026, from 1976, gold, from 1976, I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right slide here. From 1976, right, gold goes from the low put in 1976 all the way straight through to the end of the decade, 1980. This would mean that if Bitcoin's going to repeat, it goes from 2026 into the end of the decade to 2030. I believe gold has provided the 50 years ago, the roadmap that Bitcoin is following right now, tit for tat. Tell me you understand this. At least, doesn't matter if you agree with me yet, just tell me if you understand that thesis. Do you see that? Powerful, right? Good. Now, why do whales keep selling? There are some whales, that's a good question. There are some whales that have already won. Like, guys, if you've got $9 billion, all right, you won already. And yes, it's a good thing for these whales to distribute their coins to us. You don't want a money that's so concentrated in the hands of so few. You want a constantly distributed money over time. So some whales coming out is a good thing. It makes the network more secure, right? Don't let that scare you. That's another way of trying to keep you away from this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. All right, I appreciate that. You guys are sending me money? What is this? I appreciate that. The Rangolicious. Anyone else I missed as well? You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. All right. So let's get back to this. The 2020s are the new 1970s. Okay? This is going to get real fascinating here, guys. This is going to get freaking crazy. This is going to get crazy. You're going to see this. So Bitcoin is repeating gold, what gold did in the 1970s. Remember how we showed you gold dropping from 2025 into 2026? Well, Bitcoin's drop is going to be shallower. All the indicators suggest that, which we went over already. And remember gold's former rise throughout the first part of 70. So gold started in 1970. This Bitcoin started in 20 from this low. Okay. Ran up. Let's just even this run out. Ran up from 1970 to 2025. Sorry about that. It's like gold did. Pull back into 2026. And after that 2026 pullback, the God move. Boom. Right into the end of the decade. Now, if Bitcoin's rise matches that of gold, all right, let's go back to show you gold again. Let me do this again. I'm going to show you what gold did. Let me do this again. Okay. Let me show you what gold did so you don't forget. So gold had a 770, gold had a 775% gain from 1976 to 1980. That's the rest of the decade. That's 4 years. Okay? 778% gain. Now, if Bitcoin repeats that, we are at $620,000 by the end of the decade. Not bad. It's not bad. Okay? That's a 7.5x. It's not bad. I want you to understand what this means, 7.5x. You can, everything, listen to me carefully, everything that you have worked for your whole life, everything you've invested in, everything that you have become, people, from your birth to now, everything you've done, all of your experiences, all of your growth has led to who you are today. What if you could 7x that in 4 years? What if you could 7.5x your whole existence, your whole life? Make it 7.5 times bigger. It took you if you're 45, it took you 45 years to get here. If you're 20, it took you 20 years to get here. If you're 70, it took you 70 years to get here. I'm saying we have the ability to 7.5x our life if this is right. To double it 7.5 times. if we're right. It's powerful. Now, let's go back to this. Remember, well, wait a minute. Remember, I told you that Bitcoin doesn't match gold? Gold is the senior citizen, bro. Bitcoin is the 17-year-old buff, powerful teenager. When it's Bitcoin's turn to repeat this cycle, to do this, it is going to do it as a 17-year-old, not a 90-year-old, not a 5,000-year-old senior citizen. It is going to blow the top off of what gold did. We're not in the 1970s. Things go harder and faster in the new world. The map may have been set in the 70s, but the extent of the moves will always be greater in the 2020s, and especially for a limited supply asset like Bitcoin. So don't expect this 620. Don't expect that. That's kind of not understanding. Don't expect that, because that means that Bitcoin is just like gold. And it's not. It's better. It's superior. And it is always outperformed. Gold first outperforms, then passes the baton, and Bitcoin triples or more. So if we go by that, what if instead of matching gold, which brings us to 620 by 2030, what if it doubles gold? If it doubles gold, we're at 1,000,025 or so. Oh, 1,000,024. Okay, got it up at the top there. 1,000,024. That's if it just doubles what Bitcoin did. I mean, doubles what gold did. I think it has the potential to triple what gold did. It has tripled or more every time in history. So why would it stop tripling now if we have more institutions, more regulatory clarity, more countries involved, more banks involved? Why would it not more than triple if it's tripled every other time without those things? I say we triple or more. Here's where that brings us: 1.86 million. If Bitcoin just triples what gold did in the 70s, in a slower world with less money to deploy, I say we're closer to this one by the end of the decade. Different world, more superior asset, more money, faster and harder. This is powerful. So what can you do with this? I would say, let's go with all of them. I've always believed that a price target should be 3. You have a sandbag target, that's the low side. That's the 1x gold's performance, that's 600 and what was that? 620,000. That's the sandbag number. Then you have a mid-tier number, all right? That's the 1.24 million by 2030. Then you have the upside number. That's the 1.86 million per bit. All right? So let's have them all 3. Okay? Is that fair enough? Can we work with all 3? Is that fair enough? I think that's very fair. What do you think? Yeah? This is a good framework to have. All right. Dora, más cafecito, por favor. Sí, gracias. Café. All right. Makes sense though, right? I think we should have those three prices as a framework. We should structure our life based on these three numbers. Understand? Someone is saying now, Oliver, you've been comparing gold to Bitcoin, but what about silver to Bitcoin? Silver is a completely different dynamic. And while silver was historically used for money before gold came on the scene, gold took the role as the base layer of money for the world. And it was the base layer of money for the world for almost most of humanity. And so we're talking about base layer money. The other thing with silver is its high utility. Now, a base layer money is not supposed to have high utility. It's supposed to be the bedrock of an entire system. It doesn't move very often. Silver is high velocity because it's used in almost everything on planet Earth. Now, that doesn't mean that the price is not going to go up more. It just means that you can't use an item like that as the bedrock of an entire global economy. It can't be base layer money. So you're comparing base layer money to base layer money. Okay. And a lot of people get this utility thing wrong. They say, well, Bitcoin has no utility. Thank God. You don't want base layer money to have a utility. Having a utility for your money is like, I want my money to have several part-time jobs in addition to being my money. I don't want my money having a part-time job. I want it to focus on being my money. I don't want it to be a bass player in the band at night between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning, and it stops being my money from 2 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then it works over here for the dental industry between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. And during that time, it's not my money. I don't want a money that moonlights on me. I don't want a money that has 50 different jobs. Utility. Your money is not supposed to have utility. Your money is supposed to buy you utility. Your money is not supposed to have a use case. Your money buys you the best use cases. These are stupid things from people who have no concept of what real money is. Follow what I'm saying? Stick with me. I'll keep you straight. Promise you, keep you straight. All right. There we go. I love you guys. You guys are fun. You guys make it fun for me. All right. All right, let's go. This is what I wanted to show you. You see how I drew the moves from 2026 to 2030? You see how I drew them kind of like a power trend, which starts from here. This is a power trend, meaning that you don't get this anymore. See this? Up, 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 down. Boom. Now you get this. That's what I drew. No longer these. These are gone, guys. I believe these are gone. No more. Nope. No more. Cross them out. That's not happening anymore. Nope. You're good. Nope. Remember that? You've seen the baby meme, right? When the baby is like, he puts in, his mother says, nope. And he puts his hand in there. Nope. Nope. No more down. No more sharp drops like that. No more cataclysmic down drop. Nope. I know I'm crazy. That's done. You get this power trend, power trend, power trend, small pullbacks with power trend, like this, right into the end of the decade. Now, the reason why I believe that I've got this right, first of all, it's already started. Look, power trend. This is a very different move from these curved. You see the curvature of the move? Even over here, you had a curvature. There's no curve here. It's just straight. That's called a power trend. Right? I believe the nature of the moves are different now for the rest of the decade. They're power trendy. They're not slopey, which means that you don't drop hard because you don't have the slope. The slope always leads to the crash. Because you don't have the slope, you have the enduring power trends with no sharp downdrafts. So know the difference. Now, let me tell you why I believe that's the case. As I said, it looks like we've already started that power trendy, no sharp pullbacks, no curve to the move, right? So we've already started that. Why do I think we continue right into the end of the decade? Because that is what gold did. Look at, this is gold from the 80s into the 90s into the into the 2000s, right? Look at gold before the first spot gold ETF. Look at gold before, guys, told you this is going to be the most important thing. Pay attention. Pay attention. This is pay attention. Look at gold before the first spot gold ETF. Look at it. Look at when there started to be talk of the first spot gold ETF in 2003. Wait a minute. When was the talk of the first Bitcoin spot ETF? 2023? 2003? Here's the second decade that Bitcoin is repeating. 2003, spot Bitcoin, spot gold talk, spot gold ETF talk, 2003. 2023, spot Bitcoin ETF talk. Approval, spot gold ETF, 2004. Approval, spot Bitcoin ETF, 2024. We live in the freaking matrix. Do you understand? We live in a simulation. This is repeating tit for tat the 2020s as far as the power trend that is my thesis. Powerful. Now let's go back. So gold acts with the sharp ups and downs before spot gold ETF talk in 2023, spot big gold approval in 24. From there, from the start, remember I told you Bitcoin already started its power trend. The power trend always starts early. After the approval, you just go straight up in a power trend. No sharp drops. Look at these drops before. Look at these drops. Look at these drops. Look at these drops. Now look at your drops. They don't exist barely. This is all spot ETF, institutional sponsorship, countries, insurance firms, mutual funds, hedge funds, banks, individuals, retirement. This is what you get. This went from the spot Bitcoin ETF approval, the spot gold ETF approval in 2004. We went straight up into 2011. If Bitcoin does the same, that'll put us at 2031. Straight up, without a major pullback. Straight up, without a scary drop. Straight up, without the massive volatility before ETFs and institutional sponsorship and greater regulatory clarity. So just like I think Bitcoin is repeating gold's roadmap from the 1970s, it's also repeating its post-spot ETF map from the 2000s. Ooh. See this? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? I just need to see one person say that. Picking up what I'm laying down? Do you see? Could be right in front of us. If I'm right, see this? Yes. Powerful. Crazy. I know how many people though, how many people put it all together like this and make you see, like, wow, this flashlight. Oliver just showed the flashlight on this shit. Wow. When you see it together like this, right? Crazy. Now, let me go back. Oh, this is going to get crazy, guys. This is going to get crazy. Now, this has been the year of debasement, the debasement trade. The debasement trade is you gotta get out of dollars and get into something that's real, okay? And you gotta get into something that can't be printed. So the debasement trade is, since all fiat currencies can be printed at will by a small group of people, we're selling that shit and we're selling the shit that can be printed, and we're getting it, because that's debasement. Printing is debasement. We're getting out of the printable items and getting into the things that you can't print out of thin air. You can't print gold out of thin air. You can't print platinum out of thin air. And you can't print silver out of thin air. Now, I am happy for the gold bugs. I used to be one most of my adult life. My father was one for many years. I am super happy for the silver bugs. I love them. They're beautiful. I'm so glad they're being rewarded now. They're just not the future. Not as base layer money. So I tell them, enjoy the ride while you have it. All right. The higher these prices go, the greater the production of them. I know that silver has slightly different dynamics, because that's the one that can really, really keep going. Silver's fundamentals are just crazy, and I admit that, but it still won't outperform Bitcoin, and it still won't be scarcity. It still won't be base layer money. See, guys, you've got to own the dirt, the system. I'm going to repeat that. It's freaking powerful. You've got to own the dirt. You see, let's take Manhattan as an example. Those who started buying the dirt, accumulating the dirt, confiscating the dirt, stealing the dirt, killing for the dirt of Manhattan, 1600s, 1700s. They're infinitely wealthy. You see, the base layer, the dirt level is the base layer. Never let that. Now, the things that you build on top of the dirt. So let me give you an example. So there's the dirt or the rock level, dirt and rock level of Manhattan. The next level is structures on top of it. They might have 100-year, 150-year lifespan. They come and go. They have a value too, but they all come and go. Some structures last longer than others, but they all eventually go. The dirt never. Then there are units inside the structures. So you got the dirt of Manhattan, you've got the building on top of the dirt, then you've got individual components in the building, condominiums, whatever, apartment buildings, whatever. So, do you want to own an apartment, a unit in the building, which is a building built on top of the dirt? Would you rather earn the dirt that never goes away, that will always rise in value forever? The building, which has a long life, but eventually dies too, or a unit in the building? I say it's time. We are in the 1960s, we're in the 1600s and 1700s in terms of Bitcoin, to use that analogy. We need to focus on the dirt. Forget apartments, forget little units, forget buildings right now. Grab the dirt, grab the dirt, grab the base layer, accumulate the base layer. Don't let it go. I promise you, in the future, buildings after buildings after buildings are going to be built on your wealth, and units after units after units are going to be built in those buildings, and it's going to increase and explode the value of your dirt forever, for the rest of your life, for the rest of the lives of your children and their children and their children. And if we get this right, guys, our children, the children of our children of our children of our children will remember our name. The same way that the families of individuals who grabbed dirt in Manhattan in the 1960s and 70s, they remember their names today. You rarely see someone selling dirt in Manhattan. You'll see the sale of a building. You'll see a dirt owner lease a building for 99 years, but you won't see him give up the dirt. Bitcoin is the dirt of the new system. Do you see it happening? Why did the US flip so hard and fast? When's the last time you heard anything from yapping Senator Elizabeth Warren? They shut her ass up, didn't they? Real fast, once the pivot happened. Did you ever think 5 years from now that the US, the global power, would have a strategic Bitcoin reserve that would be the largest owner of Bitcoin on earth as far as countries are concerned, and have the biggest spot Bitcoin ETF on planet Earth, and have the clearest regulatory clarity, and have a mandate to buy 1 million extra Bitcoin, and have the largest Bitcoin mining industry on planet Earth, and control the vast majority of the Bitcoin hash rate? Would you ever thought all of that would be together in a short period of time? We're talking, the last administration was anti-Bitcoin. We're talking in a few short years, a 180 like you've never seen it before. You think that's by chance? You think it's a mistake? You think it's like just random all those things came together at the same time? Banks can now custody it. Now 8 of your 10 biggest banks in America can now lend against your Bitcoin? You think that's freaking, oh yeah, Oliver, that's just luck. Those things came together by luck. Ridiculous. It's a reset going on right in front of our eyes, and it's a hard reset. Powerful. All right, let's go back here. Shh. All right, now, gold leads Bitcoin super cycle. Remember, so I was telling you not only from the macro, but from the micro too. So I want you to look at goals back in 2000. What is this? 2016. Gold surges, and once gold. So the key is when gold starts to peter off, and it will. That's when Bitcoin goes into the super move up. Everyone gets impressed with gold. Look at this gold run back in 2018, long gold run. You think this is the first time gold is running like this? No, look at this run. Then when it started to cool off, that's when the super part of the cycle of the Bitcoin run up occurred. It's all the super part happens after. See? Now we're experiencing the same thing. Gold is running up. It looks climactic here. When gold cools off, the super part of the move happens. This is not freaking new. This is a freaking broken clock. It happens like this every single goddamn time. And people get thrown by it every time because they have short memories. But I'm not going to let that beat you. I'm showing you history. I'm showing you what happens almost every single time, right? There you have it. You know what's happening next. This is next. This is next. This is next. And then this is next. This is next. This is next. It's not hard when you know what to look at. All right. And gold, of course, will never cut it, guys. Look at this poor dude here. Gold will never cut it in the real world. This man is fuming after the UK's mail lost his $10,000 bar. He bought he bought it from his own country. He bought a 10,000 pound gold bar from his own country. The freaking Royal Mint. He bought the gold coin or the gold piece, 10,000 pounds from his own country. They mailed it to him. Are you freaking stupid? Gold has to still use the freaking mail? Yes, because you can't send it over the internet. You can't zap it. You got to ship it. And the mail lost his 10,000 pound gold bar. And guess what they're doing? They're offering him, they're saying, whoops, we'll give you $750, 750 pounds for it. We know you paid 10,000 pounds for it, but this is the best we can do. Here's $750. Maybe you want to just come pick it up next time with a security guard. This is gold, can't make it in today's world, guys. It still has some value, of course, still has some merit. It's still the most valuable singular asset on planet Earth. But that's just built up accumulated value from all the past millennia, which I believe over time gets sucked into Bitcoin because of shit like this. This is sad. This is sad. All right. You can't do this with Bitcoin. Look at this. Look at this piece of silver. 100 troy ounces of silver. Look at that. There's that. 100 troy ounces of silver. Cut it open. False. Filled with tungsten. Do you know how much fake gold and silver exists in the world? A ton, guys. Don't get fooled. You can't fake Bitcoin. It's impossible. It's mathematically impossible to fake Bitcoin. You can't. Can't get duped like that. Now, guys, the banks. Why banks make, what did I say here? Why banks make shrink? All right. I was going to say why banks make the Bitcoin supply shrink. Now, Bitcoin is already a very scarce asset. It's not only scarce, it's finite. There's are two separate things. So silver has a scarcity to it. Gold has even a more scarcity than silver to it. And Bitcoin has the highest scarcity of everything on planet Earth. Just look at the stocks to flow ratio if you want to get a measurement of that. So Bitcoin is more scarce than gold by orders of magnitude, and Bitcoin is more scarce than silver or anything else on planet Earth by even more. Now, so scarcity is one thing, but no other asset on Earth is finite except Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first finite asset in the history of human mankind. That's an important point to understand. Now, banks are making the scarcity of Bitcoin more. Now that they are allowed to custody it, banks will hoard Bitcoin as the foundational layer or as the number one key collateral that they hold and don't let go. We see this here. Here's an institutional Wall Street bank. This is the largest global government bond dealer in the world telling you that Bitcoin is the greatest commodity on earth. There's no ceiling for Bitcoin. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but the head of Cantor Fitzgerald is now the Commerce Secretary for the US government, President Trump. And they are all in on Bitcoin. Now, global banks are going to be some of your biggest hoarders of Bitcoin. Guys, listen to what I'm saying. I'm a hoarder of Bitcoin. Every day I remove some Bitcoin out of supply, making it more scarce. Those sats that I accumulate will never see the light of day, I'm telling you. Just telling you, they will never see the light of day. All right? Sailor is an accumulator, removing Bitcoin, making it more scarce, taking it out of circulation. Banks are going to be some of the biggest takers of Bitcoin out of circulation because it's going to be the primary pristine collateral against anything you do in the bank. Buy a house, Bitcoin. Start a business, Bitcoin. You understand? It is going to be, this is why banks were suddenly allowed to custody it. Custody is move it out of circulation. You know what this does? Creates a supply squeeze. The more you take it out of circulation, the more the smallest amount of demand skyrockets the price. This is crazy. So here's just a few examples. USBC, which was one of the staunchest critics of Bitcoin, they're now just announced they will offer Bitcoin trading to their banking clients. This is the first step to them custodying Bitcoin as well. A wave of demand is about to flow into Bitcoin. UBS is big. You guys know that. Now, just in, Belgian bank will let all customers buy Bitcoin starting next week. The global banks are scrambling now. Scrambling to rush in, right? US states guys, are scrambling to get into Bitcoin. They don't sell very frequently. States are scrambling to buy, the US states. Even central banks are joining. Italy's central bank just said Bitcoin is the most technologically robust crypto in the world. Nation state game theory playing out. Central banks and nation states are scrambling. Countries are flooding in. Venezuela, after being captured, says it's going to integrate Bitcoin into its banking system by the end of 2026. Countries are flooding in. Moldova finance minister confirms the nation will legalize Bitcoin because they cannot ban it. Game theory is playing out. Countries can't beat it, so they're joining. Ethiopia's prime minister just announced the country will start to mine Bitcoin. This is just in the last week. Every country in the world will mine Bitcoin because that's the most sovereign Bitcoin. When you mine it, no one really, you're not buying it from someone. So the most sovereign Bitcoin for nations is mined Bitcoin. Understand? So every country in the world will mine Bitcoin. All right. Another country adopting Bitcoin in a massive way. Guys, mortgages are going to suck Bitcoin out of circulation like nothing else. Arizona's new res, huge. This borrowers can now qualify for a mortgage without liquidating their holdings. One of the first major lenders in the US to integrate Bitcoin. Now there's Milo in Florida and LendFriend and somewhere else in the US. These are popping up all over the place. Soon, every single major bank will offer Bitcoin mortgages. Now, let me tell you how big this is and how this is going to lead to one of the biggest Bitcoin supply squeezes of your life. I want to tell you how every mortgage in the US and ultimately in the world is going to be structured. Listen to me carefully. I know I'm belaboring some of these points, but I think it's important for you. And I hope you can stay, right? So check this out. Shoot, got to finish in just a bit. So check this out, guys. Smoke on this. Your typical mortgage is going to be like this. You want to buy a $500,000 home, right? Average median price of a home today is about almost 600. Let's make the numbers basic, 500,000 home, right? The bank is going to say, we're going to do the loan to 700,000, not 500,000, right? We're going to require, first they're going to do this, then there's going to be two phases. Phase one, they're going to require you to put a small down payment down, 50,000, something like that. So 50,000 your down payment on 10%, something like that. It's going to on a $500,000 home. That's phase one. Phase two is no down payment. Phase one, 50,000. They're going to say, okay, we're going to do the loan for a $700,000 amount, not a $500,000 amount, minus your down payment. The 200,000 extra, we're going to buy Bitcoin for it and put it in cold storage. So there are two forms of collateral, your 50,000 down payment and the 200 Bitcoin, the scarcest asset on earth. Now, these two things are going to back your house. Now, here's how it's going to work. After 5 years, 20% of the Bitcoin is yours. The Bitcoin should be worth more than your house. 5 years or half or whatever. In the next, if you keep with the bank, The next 5 years, right? 50% of the Bitcoin is yours. 10 years, that Bitcoin should be multiples of the value of your home. In 15 years, all the Bitcoin is yours. In my 15 years, you can probably buy 20 of those houses, 50 of those houses. Win-win for everyone. The mortgage gets you to stay through the 15-year period. They guarantee that your collateral is worth more than the house pretty much at all times, first couple of years. Can't lose. As long as you keep your payments up, you can't lose. So you earn that Bitcoin by staying. This is going to be how every single mortgage is going to be done. And it's going to become so successful that no one's going to need a down payment from you. Anyone can walk in and get a house, and they don't even have to have Bitcoin. The bank's going to buy the Bitcoin for you because that's going to be their security. And you're going to earn the Bitcoin, staying, continuing to wind up with the house and the Bitcoin. Everybody freaking wins. Now, how powerful is that? Do you understand that? Do you understand the power of that? Someone says, so why would the bank give up the Bitcoin? Right? Well, the bank is not giving up the Bitcoin. They have the Bitcoin for the years. But I know what you're saying. If the Bitcoin's going to be worth way more, why don't they get out of the banking business? Is that what you're saying? It's not going to happen. All right? It's not going to happen. They're not going to get out of the mortgage business. They're not going to get out of the house building business. They're not going to get out of the lending business. But this is how to make lending work for every party involved. It's going to become fairer. It's going to become more profitable for everyone. Now, it could be that the banks will keep a portion. You get 90% of it and they get 10% of it. I don't know. But that basic structure is going to be in place. And I want you to understand that the success of that is going to take a ton of Bitcoin off the market and lock it away as people do mortgage after mortgage after mortgage after mortgage after mortgage, or business loan after business loan after business loan after business loan, because it will go from mortgages to funding businesses to funding freaking vacations around the world, whatever. You think this is not, this is already happening. You just saw the lending, mortgage lender. You just saw it coming into the space. They're coming. The insurance companies are coming. Insurance sucks today. Life insurance. Everyone should drop their life insurance and just put those premiums into Bitcoin. That's your life insurance. And the insurance companies are starting to understand this, and they're coming to the game. So mortgages will hoard, mortgage companies and mortgage lending will take Bitcoin off the supply market, making it even scarcer than it already is. Banks using it as the base layer of collateral is going to hoard Bitcoin, making it scarcer than it is. Even the global elite banks, the IMF director, $1 trillion IMF director says nations need to accept the reality and adopt Bitcoin and crypto. They've all relented. They've all bent the knee. They all see the reset, especially being led by the US. They've all given up. They've all joined. You can't beat it. Join it. They see the writing on the wall. The next 4 years is going to repeat what gold did from 1976 to 1980. It's going to repeat what gold did from 2006 straight through 2011. But it's going to do it on steroids. We can front run this now. The supply shock, the epic move up. It's coming, people. 20 million have already, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin people. 20 million have already been mined and owned. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. There will only ever be 21 million ever in the history of the world. 20 of the 21 millions already mined and owned. One last time. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin to ever exist. 20 million have already been mined, which means that 20 million are already owned or lost. Do you understand that a Bitcoin can't be unowned? It can't go back in. That's like saying, can a baby that's born go back in the womb and not be born? Never again. Once the Bitcoin pops out of the womb, is mined, it is always owned. It might be owned by different entities or people from time to time, but it's never not owned. Do you understand? So a Bitcoin can't ever go back on the shelf. It can't ever not be owned. It can be lost, but it can't ever not be owned. So if 20 million of the only 21 million that will ever exist has already been mined, that means 20 million Bitcoin are already owned and will be owned forever. It'll be changed sometimes, but always owned. And increasingly, those owners say, I'm not giving you. Increasingly, I'm not giving. See that shoulder move? You see that shoulder move right there? That's that. You're going to see that shoulder move a lot, guys, in the future. I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. Oh, but I have this trinket for you. I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. But I have this car for you. That'll be the most expensive car in the world in the next 5 years. I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. I got this Louis Vuitton bag for you. That's going to be the most expensive bag in the world in 5 years. I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. See what I'm saying? Banks are going to be like, I'm going to hoard the Bitcoin. Mortgage lenders, we're going to lock the Bitcoin up in a mortgage contract. All this hoarding and locking up and you and me saying, I'm not giving you my Bitcoin. It's going to create the biggest supply squeeze this world has ever seen. Why do I know this? Because we've never had a finite asset. Gold is not finite. It's just scarce. That's different. We can produce it forever. Silver is not finite. It's less scarce. We can produce it forever. Gold is finite. And 20 million of the 21 million already done. You see where this goes? Look at it. Look at where you are. 1 million left right here. 1 million is left. 2026. Look at all the way to 2040. 1 million left to be mined over the next 118 years or something like that. That's crazy. 116. It's crazy. People don't understand scarcity and finite scarcity because we've never had it before. So they're underestimating this. Now let's talk about Bitcoin price predictions. I know this is where you want it to go, but we've already did this a little bit. But let's talk about some price predictions, and then we're close to the end here, guys. I want you to stay because this is going to be very We're going to end it very powerfully. Okay. Bitcoin price predictions, what to expect. Fidelity calls for a super cycle. So the second largest money manager on earth said Bitcoin is entering a decade-long super cycle. We talked about this. So that super cycle I told you is the same type of super cycle that gold had, right? In the mid to late 1970s. It had a super cycle. Bitcoin is repeating that same super cycle pattern that gold had in the 1970s. From 1976 right into 1980, Bitcoin 2026 right into 2020, 2030, and Fidelity is calling for the same. All right. Now, Michael Saylor said Bitcoin will be the largest asset in the world in the next 48 months. That's 2 years, guys. This is what he's calling for. Now, he may not be right, but what if he is? He's certainly in the know. He's certainly behind the scenes. He's certainly in the offices. He's certainly in some of the most important meetings on planet Earth. He's certainly in front of some of the most powerful firms and powerful people on planet Earth. He knows something is coming, and he is willing to go on the record and say, in the next 48 months, Bitcoin will be the largest asset in the world. Do you know what that means in 2 years? Let's take a look. If he's right, gold is already 35 trillion. Bitcoin is less than 2 trillion. We're talking about a 16x, a 1,600% move up in 2 years, 48 months. That's if it matches. What if it greatly supersedes, which we know it's going to do over time? But he's saying in 48 freaking months, Bitcoin is the 8th wonder of the world already. Gold and silver are the top 2 now. These are all paper assets, right? In a way. He's calling for a leapfrog up here in 48 months. If he's right, we don't have 4 years. We've got 2 years. Now, let's see. If he's right, Bitcoin at a $35 trillion market cap, using 20 million, remember 20 million are produced already, mined and owned, using 20 million BTC circulating supply, 35 trillion equals a 20 divided by 20,000 equals a $1.75 million Bitcoin. In 2 years, this is closer to my 4-year upward target. He's fast forwarding this to 2 years. He is personal friends with the Trump family. He's up in Mar-a-Lago all the time. He is in meetings with the cabinet. He is in the offices of the biggest banks in the world, the biggest investors in the world. He knows something. 1.75 million per Bitcoin, if he's right. Okay. What's another prediction? We asked Grok, where is Bitcoin in 4 years, given all of the things that we know? That was the question. The banks being able to custody Bitcoin, the strategic Bitcoin reserve of the United States, the growth of the mining industry in the US, the regulatory clarity, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, the country adoption speeding up, central banks starting to join in, and yada, 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 yada. Fed all that in. Based on that, Grok, where is Bitcoin in 4 years? This was the answer. 1.5 million. Not that far off from our upper end price target. But then someone asked it a further question. The further question to Grok was, where is Bitcoin in 2040? He says here, thanks. Now edit this image to the price Bitcoin will be in 2040, asks Bitcoin junkies. Grok gave him this answer. Holy shit. $100 million Bitcoin? If this is even remotely true, you can now understand why everyone is scrambling. This is not the only, we're not the only people feeding shit into AI. We're not the only people who see the writing on the wall. We're not the only people piecing this together. Crazy. Whether you, doesn't matter to me if this is true, because I think even if it's a small percentage true, it's freaking mind blowing. If we're 10%, we're 90% off. It's freaking mind blowing. If we're 95% off, it's mind blowing from 100 million. We're 90% off. That's 10 million Bitcoin. I'll take it. If we're 90% off, I'll take it. Hope you understand how huge this is, guys. Hope you understand. This, I don't want you to this. I want us to do this together. Guys, look, Kathy Wood says 1.5 million by 2030. She's not so far off our upper end of 1.8 by 2030. We're not the only ones. And don't think you're late. We still have some time, but that doesn't mean wait. Do not wait. Do not wait, people. You're early, but do not wait. This is where we are in the Bitcoin adoption curve, right? Now, Rivers says we're at 3%. That's bullshit. I think we're at 1%. I can't find any Bitcoiners in my neighborhood. I can't find any Bitcoiners as my friends. I can't find any Bitcoiners in my family, except the ones I forced to. They're not in my church. They're not, and they're not my friends. I can't find them. 1%, bro. We're still that early, in my opinion. All right. When you split an adoption curve into innovators, early adopters, majority, early majority, late majority, laggards, this is when you're late. You are real. This is where we are, and we are really early. This is Bitcoin's IPO, crossing from innovators to early adopters. This is pre-IPO. Pre-IPO, those of you who know what that means. Then we cross into the IPO period. We just did this. IPO, spot Bitcoin ETFs, kicked off the IPO phase. We still have a long way to go, right? Bitcoin is the fastest adopted thing in history. It's on par, if not outperforming, the internet. This is the internet adoption. And Bitcoin, this was the internet adoption over 7 years. Bitcoin is outpacing that over 4 years. So it's outstripping the fastest adopted thing in the history of mankind. It's crazy. You think we're the only ones who see this? Look at how everything from the early 1990s have been adopted. Everything from the telephone, guys, look at this, from the telephone to electricity to cars to radio, air travel, color TV, PCs, cell phones. You get the point. These are all things. But there's something I want you to understand, something I want you to see, that most things up until here, most things adopted like this. Humans adopted them like that. You see that curve? You see that middle part there? You see it? So look at how let me do something really bright here so you can see it. I'll do it orange and you'll see. Look at how this was adopted. You see that middle part there? There's like that pause, right? And most things before got adopted with that pattern that went like this. Now look at this side of the chart. Look at how the nature of how humans adopt things change. It's straight up without the middle part, the middle pause, middle pause, middle pause, without the slowdown. You're straight up now, bro. Straight, 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 straight. Pause, no pauses, no middle parts. They're straight up. Now, I know you might say, well, we're still in the early phases of them, but no. Things are faster today. And because they're faster, they don't have these types of adoption pauses. All right? So Bitcoin's not going to have a pause. And if I were to add Bitcoins to this, it's this one. Straight up, bro. Straight up. It's faster than everything else before. Crazy. Easy. Most will never reach 0.21 Bitcoin. That's a little bit more than 1/5 of a whole Bitcoin. Here are the median Bitcoin. This is the latest Bitcoin ownership data. Here's the median Bitcoin held by age. Ages 18 through 34, they own this amount on average. Anyone between this has about 0.02 on average. So as you get higher in age, of course, people have more money, and the Bitcoin size that they hold on average goes up. 5 to 64 owns a little bit more than 1/10 of a Bitcoin. The 65 to 75-year-olds own a little bit less than 20% of a whole Bitcoin. And as you get older, it starts declining because they don't know anything about tech. They don't even know what a computer is. Right? So we should be out to destroy these numbers. Whatever your age bracket, I need you destroying these numbers. Get ahead of the pack. This is how early you are. Get ahead of the pack. If you get ahead of these packs, you're going to be the new elite. In the next 4 years, 5 years, you will be the new elite. Get past these numbers, people. This is where your fellow human beings are. You can pass that. Focus. And I will help you do that. Now, I can't go into this section. I didn't know if I was going to have enough time, but we can do this once you are part of the family, guys. I'm going to skip this part, but I do want you to understand that, guys, this is so powerful that we can't afford to miss this opportunity. I think it's the greatest opportunity that we will ever have in history. I think this opportunity is going to dwarf all the prior opportunities that sprouted up. And I have two ways for you and me to be on this journey together. One is through my Bitcoin Master Club. Now, my Master Club members can tell you guys, we're together every single day. We never miss a beat. All right. No person loses on my watch. We are in this together. We make sure you can't and don't make any mistakes. We make sure you're accumulating the right way. It's a very powerful community, and I'm so proud of them. Many of our Bitcoin members have already been set for life because we started in 2020, but it's still not late. The other more involved way is through Trade for Wealth, which includes the Bitcoin Master Club, but also all of my other wealth building strategies, methods, items. With Trade for Wealth, we look to outperform Bitcoin. So in the Bitcoin Club, we look to profit from Bitcoin's wealth generating mechanism. With wealth, we look to outperform Bitcoin, including Bitcoin, but outperforming it through additional strategies. So I want to explain very quickly what that is. Just what some of the members are saying, guys, very quickly. I joined Trade for Wealth in 2020. See, I told you we started this in 2020. You see that? In less than 4 months, one single trade covered more than the fee I paid for the program. Having Oliver's ideology with you for life is priceless. This is for life, guys. You are with me for life in this journey. We're doing it together. I transformed my mindset and my portfolio, understanding the history of money, Bitcoin's role in the current system. I went from confusion to clarity. All right? It completely changed how I understand money and long-term value. Bitcoin Master Club helped me to eliminate the noise and focus on what truly matters. All right. It's been key in making informed decisions and building a legacy that will last generations. Guys, very powerful. There's no better place to be than wealth and Bitcoin programs together. All right. 2.5 years ago, I felt depressed, thinking I would have to work forever. Today, I have a clear vision of where I'll be in the next 4 to 5 years. Very, very powerful, guys. So there is a Bitcoin Master Club 6-month membership, guys. You will have access to all of my live study sessions. We study together live. You'll have access to my 5-step trading in my 5-step investment plan into Bitcoin. These are the 5 steps to start right now. Principles for building generational wealth with Bitcoin. You'll have full access to my Bitcoin study sessions from the past. So I started all the way back in 2020. Guys, you get all of those study sessions. That's crazy. Maybe, I think so. Anyway, full access, all my previous Bitcoin study sessions. Personal alerts, anytime I'm doing anything, you get an alert before I do it. Live sessions together, we study together. We do sessions just like this together all the time. 24-hour Discord channel. Guys, I'm there with you all. I'm there with you every single day, and in many cases, all day long. You have direct access to me as it relates to Bitcoin. Bitcoin for Everyone practical guide to buy, sell, and secure Bitcoin safely. This is a 6-month membership if you're not sure. But if you're sure, you want to be the lifetime member. Most of my members we're doing this for life. And there is a lifetime membership, so you don't have to keep renewing every 6 months. And then there's the Trade for Wealth program, guys, where you'll learn all of my wealth strategies where we use options and futures and also the equity market to maximize things. We use leverage. We use strategies to outperform Bitcoin, and we've been very successful at it. As an example, our MicroStrategy play, MSTR, right? At one point, we did a 1,500% return over several months, outperforming Bitcoin by orders of magnitude. But joining it with Bitcoin, we use things like options, we use certain futures hedging strategies in the bear markets during Bitcoin. to soften the blow or to even turn bear markets into profitable periods. So this is a bit more sophisticated, a bit more involved. It brings other assets into play in conjunction with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the centerpiece, but in wealth, we use other things as well to turbocharge Bitcoin's wealth generating capabilities. Right? Guys, these are the retail prices for these. 6-month membership, $500. Guys, you'll get that value in the first few days, I promise you. The Bitcoin lifetime membership, $5,000, wealth, $15,000. Now, I would never let you pay that, all right? But these are the full retail prices. What are your prices? Even just for being here, for being part of my YouTube family, that means something to me. I'm going to give you these for this. Guys, this is giving away 6 months for less than the cost of a dinner. 6 months with me every single day. In-depth study sessions, getting you straight with self-custody, maybe even running a Bitcoin node, becoming a true Bitcoiner to build your wealth over the next 4 years, your generational wealth. Lifetime, $1,600. Forever, we're together. Every single day. Special sessions, study sessions, direct contact every day, live, right? Walking through this Bitcoin journey together. And if you want the Bitcoin Life membership and wealth, that more sophisticated approach where we outperform even Bitcoin, all right? With these additional strategies. That's the wealth program, which includes the lifetime membership in the wealth. Bumped up cost of $4,500. Guys, some of my members are here. Ask them if their lives have not already been changed forever. Ask them. Some of them are right here. You can ask them right now, right? No, they are, because they attend almost everything. So guys, look, here is the Bitcoin Master Club lifetime membership. You're going to get the Master Club. You're going to get the Bitcoin Master Club for life. I'm going to throw in a mini Bitcoin course to start you off the right way. That people pay $200 for that. That's yours. I'm going to give you exclusive access to me via Discord every single day, 7 days a week. I'm there every day, many cases all day long. We're together, right? Priceless. Okay. This all is for $1,590. Guys, it's a one shot forever. Break this cost down over 10 years, 5 years, over the next 4 years, because that's what we're playing for. Break this cost down over 4 years. What is that? Nothing. To make sure you never lose a single Satoshi, that you don't get scammed, to make sure you're self-custodying properly, to make sure you're choosing the right vendors to work with, to make sure your Bitcoin is safe and secure, to make sure you don't get duped by anyone ever, to make sure you have generational growth by the time this 4-year period is over. Is worth that. Okay? This is through January 39th, the 31st. I will give you. Now, guys, there is a 60-minute. What time is it now? I'm going to say it's 1:05. You've got 60 minutes to take advantage of this same price, but I'm going to throw something else in there. You're not only going to get the lifetime membership of the Bitcoin Club, you're not only going to get that $200 kickoff mini course to start you off in a powerful way. You're not only going to have access, we're going to be together every day forever, right? Which is priceless. Okay? Meaning I don't disappear. I'm with you every day, guys. Got to make sure we get this right. I'm going to give you exclusive access to every previous academy class I've ever done. So we have an academy. I have these special academy sessions over the last few years that are truly priceless. Now, we do let people have access to this separately for $1,500, but it's yours. Absolutely free. That's a $1,500 value, same cost. 60 minutes, you get that extra bonus. Guys, $1,600 to potentially have generational wealth over the next 4 years. I told you what's coming, but you've got to do it right. You can't mess it up. Can't lose your Bitcoin. You have to store it properly. You've got to know what vendors to trust. You've got to know how to secure your family's future. You've got to know how to pass it on. You've got to know what to do in the case of death or whatever. This is smart business play, and this is how to do it. Guide you, and there will be no one lost under my guidance. No one. Ask any of my members. Ask them. They're right here, right? So, this is the special offer for wealth. If for those of you who are interested in going all the way, so you get the wealth program, which includes the lifetime Bitcoin membership, which includes that $200 kickoff mini course to get you started on the right footing, which includes having access to me every day through Discord, which includes the bonus, which is how to bulletproof your wealth. A lot of people don't have this very important piece to their lives, guys. They don't know how to protect their wealth, their assets. They don't know how to use revocable trusts and irrevocable trust and offshore activity, asset protection, ways that prevent others from ever being able to access your wealth, ever being able to take what you have accumulated. Because I am telling you, people, there's going to come a day, Bitcoin is so valuable, people are going to be coming at you, and you had better know how to protect yourself. You had better be a fairly decent expert at asset protection and lawsuit protection and business dispute protections. I will help you lock this in where no one will be able to get at your Bitcoin. No one will be able to touch your hard-earned accumulated wealth. Bitcoin's going to take you to an elite status where you're going to have this part to your life, protection part. You get that bonus, how to bulletproof yourself. No one, I don't care who sues you, who disputes with you, who wins, it doesn't matter. No one's getting at your assets. No one's getting it. All right, guys, enrollment is open until January 31st. This package is a little less than 5,000, guys. Just this is worth that. Just this is worth that. Protecting yourself. But you get all of this. And remember, this is for life. It's one fee. There's no monthly fee that goes with it. There's no additional fees ever. One shot. I'm looking forward to many of you joining here, guys. All right. Keep in mind, guys, that I only have a set number of people who are part of my team. Do not speak to anyone else. If it's not a person on this page, this screen here, you are being scammed. If it's not one of these numbers, you are being scammed. If it's not one of these emails, you are being scammed. You see the languages they speak on the right? Everything I offer is in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. So language should not be a barrier, but you've got to make sure it's one of these people. I don't want you scammed. I don't want someone taking advantage of you. So please take a snapshot of this or come back to it in the presentation once it's up for good. But you got to get this part right, guys. Right? I don't want you losing. Doors are only open twice a year, guys. You cannot sign up anytime throughout the year. And the reason I do this is because it's a big learning curve to teach you how to handle your Bitcoin properly, self-custody it properly, whatever. And I can't keep having new people come in every single day and having to repeat myself and start all over. So we only open the doors every 6 months. So January 31st, you will not be able to get any of this. And if you think I'm playing, many people have thought I was playing and they learned the hard way and had to wait 6 months later. I'm strict on this. All right? There you go. I hope that, guys, I truly hope that I've kept my promise. I've delivered something of value that has been thought provoking, that something you've never thought about before, something that's impacted you in a way where you said, wow, or aha, or what have you. Those are the things that I think are life changing when those moments happen. And I hope that I've done that here today. If I haven't, I promise you, I'm going to get better at this every single time. Right? I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your time. I don't take it for granted. You can do a lot of things with your family, walking your dog at the mall, watching TV, whatever it is you do, but you're here with me. And it's special to me. So I hope I've given something of value in exchange for that time, guys. Once again, I'm looking forward to many of you joining the family. We've got work to do. It's exciting work. It's extremely rewarding work. What is coming is unprecedented. Know this, I promise. Let's not miss this. Let's do it together the right way. All right, guys, love you to death. Boom! Boom! Ciao for now. Boom.